Appreciate you again. I'm going to start with some opening business. Again, my name is Kayla Quintana. I'm the head of marketing at Fairfax County Department of Transportation. We want to welcome you to this public outreach meeting to discuss the proposed Fairfax Connector December 7th, 2024 service changes. And we'll also be discussing the proposed bus fare increase for July 1, 2024. Tonight, once the presentation is completed, we will begin the question and answer portion, in which participants will ask their questions aloud. The chat feature has been disabled for this meeting, so we will not be taking written questions. We also encourage you to submit your comments to today's meeting using the online survey, online feedback form, written feedback, or phone call. Again, we'll have information on the various ways to provide comments at the end of the presentation. So again, thank you, Michael Coyle, for joining us from Supervisor Smith's office in the Sully District. And I want to introduce Kyle Davis, who is going to start us off with our presentation. Kyle?
Thank you, Kayla, and thank you, Michael, for attending, and thanks to everyone who's in attendance here tonight. We welcome you, and without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and get started with tonight's presentation. As Kayla said, I will be presenting on the December 2024 service changes, which includes CCVT Phase 2, several minor service changes, and a proposed fare increase for July 1st. This is the agenda for tonight's presentation. First, we'll start off with an introduction, then a timeline and overview of CCVT Phase 2. Then we'll discuss other service changes. Then we'll get into the fare analysis, Title VI, next steps, and then Q&A. So first off, what does CCVT stand for? Centreville, Chantilly, Vienna, Tysons. That is the name of the plan that we are proposing for December 2024. Please keep in mind that this is part of a much larger service change. So the CCVT plan is broken up into two phases. The first phase has already been approved by the Board of Supervisors and is currently slated to be implemented in late June of this year. And this is Phase 2 that we'll be discussing tonight. This includes two new routes, 610 and 670, as well as several other service changes. So that's just kind of an overview of what CCVT is. And as the name implies, the focus of the service changes will be in the Centreville, Chantilly, Vienna, and Tysons communities within Fairfax County. So this is an overview of what the service changes are. I won't go into great detail here. We'll get into this a little bit later, but this just provides a brief overview of the service changes. As said before, Route 610 and 670 are brand new routes for CCVT that are included here, but we also have several other routes, including Route 335, 351, 352, and 921, which are also included in this service change. There are changes to frequency and span of service. By frequency, of course, I just mean how often the bus shows up, how often it comes when it's in service. And when I say span of service, I'm talking about the hours of operation. So for example, Route 335, the proposed span is from 6 a.m. to 9:31 in the morning, and then from 2:50 to 6:50 in the p.m. So that is the proposed span of service. So just to give you this table just gives you an idea of what is proposed. And like I said, we'll get into more detail a little bit later in the presentation. So what is the timeline? Well, this started around 2020. We engaged in service analysis, route development, and an initial round of public input. And that process lasted from 2020 until about 2022 or so. Now we're in the final round of public meetings and public input. We'll refine the service based on any feedback that we receive over the course of the spring and summer. We anticipate presenting this to the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors sometime in the late summer or autumn. And if all goes according to plan, we are anticipating that we'll be implementing the service, like I said, in December. So winter 2024-25. So with that being said, I will pass this along to my colleague, Christian Basai, who will get into the route profiles.
Thank you, Carl. Good evening. My name is Christian Bisai. I'm a transportation planner within the Transit Services Division at Fairfax County Department of Transportation. As Carl noted, tonight we'll go over some of the changes as part of the December 2024 service changes. We have 6 routes and 2 of them are brand new. So I will cover and like I say, I will go over some of the details, some of the changes that we are planning on implementing. So the first route I will cover is Route 610. This is a brand new route, and we are very enthused to introduce the new route to you because it will provide a link between George Mason University as well as Fairfax County Government Center, and it will travel along Route 29 and cover some part of Centreville. It will operate all day, 6 days a week, and with weekday service from 5:30 a.m. till 10:21 p.m. And service will be every 30 minutes during rush hour and every hour during non-rush hour. On Saturday, Route 610 will operate from 7 a.m. until 7:51 p.m. A service will be every hour, and there will be no service on Sunday, as you can see on the route profile. The great thing about 610 is that it will offer you opportunities to transfer to other routes at Centreville Stone Park and Ride, such as Route 660, which can take you to Tysons, or Route 662 if you would like to go to Vienna metro station. And also Route 901 is an option you can take, you can connect to travel all the way to the Herndon metro station and to many more routes. Also, there will be opportunity to transfer at Stringfellow Road Park and Ride to, for instance, Route 663 in the direction of Vienna metro station, to Route 697 if you would like to go to DC, or to Route 698 to the Pentagon and to many more. Finally, Route 610 will also serve the new Monument Drive Park and Ride Transit Center. It is a new facility where you have 820 parking spaces available at no cost to you. And also you have transfer available at Monument Drive Park and Ride facility to over 15 routes, such as the existing connector Route 699 in direction to downtown DC, or you can transfer to Route 671 to Vienna and Dunloring Metro Station, or you can transfer to Metro Bus Route 1C and 2B. So you have many options for transfer at Monument Drive. In addition to the connectivity and opportunities for transfer the new Route 610 will offer you, within a quarter of a mile of walking distance, the route will serve 1 school, 4 activity centers. Activity center means a concentration of places of employment, shopping, recreational, or socializing. Route 610 will also serve 2 colleges within a quarter mile of a walking distance, 7 park and ride, and a combination of 8 government/community and human services center. So the next route is Route 670. This is also a new route. It is a cross-county connector, and it will operate during peak hours between Chantilly and the Franconia-Springfield metro station and VRA. It will go through the Monument Drive, Park and Ride, and Vienna metro station. Route 670 will operate Monday through Friday only from 5 a.m. till 9:52 a.m. and then from 3:20 p.m. till 7:57 p.m. The bus will come every 30 minutes during rush hour with no service during non-rush hour and weekend. Route 670 will offer opportunities to transfer to other connector routes, to Metro bus route, to Q route, and Metro rail lines. For instance, If you go to Monument Drive Park and Ride Transit Center, you will be able to transfer to over 11 connector routes, including Route 660 and 699. Or you can also connect to 2 Metro bus routes, 1C and 2B. At Vienna Metro Station, there will be opportunity to transfer to routes such as the connector 663, 671, 698, and to many more, or to Metro bus route 1A, 2B, 29N, and to Q routes Green and Gold. Furthermore, at Franconia-Springfield Metro Rail Station, transfer will be available to over 17 connector routes and to the Metro Rail Blue Line, of course. Finally, Route 670 will serve several facilities within a walking distance, within a quarter mile of a walking distance. And those facilities are 2 Metro Rail Station, 5 activity centers, 3 park and ride lots, and 4 government/community/human services center. And now we're going to cover the additional service changes outside of the Centreville, Chantilly, Vienna, and Tysons Phase 2 changes. And we will start with Route 335. This is a route that currently operates with service to Fort Belvoir. But due to some operational issues, the route is being realigned. And as part of the changes, there will be a minor change to the schedule. It will continue to operate weekday service only with the same start time at 6 a.m., but the end time is changed to 9:31 a.m. In the afternoon, Route 335 service is from 2:50 p.m. until 6:50 p.m. And the bus will come every 20 to 40 minutes during rush hour. And there is no service during non-rush hour or weekend. Route 335 will continue to offer opportunities to transfer to other connector routes at Franconia-Springfield Metro Station, such as OmniRide Prince William Metro Express. You can also transfer to the Metro Rail Blue Line and VRE, and you can transfer to Metro Bus Rex on Richmond Highway using Route 335. And within a quarter mile distance, Route 335 will serve 1 Metro Rail, 3 activity centers, 1 hospital, and 2 park and ride lots. The next route is Route 351. Just like Route 335, Route 351 is also being realigned to address some operational issues. The route will maintain service on weekdays only from 6:30 a.m. till 10:30 a.m. and then from 2:35 p.m. till 5:55 p.m. And it will operate every 20 to 25 minutes during rush hour only. Transfer to other connector routes will still be optional at Franconia-Springfield Metro Rail Station, as well as the Metro Rail and the VRE. And within a quarter mile of a walking distance, Route 355 will continue to serve a Metro Rail Station, 2 activity centers, 1 college, and 1 park and ride. And moving on to Route 352. Route 352 also is being realigned to address some operational issues. Service is maintained to weekdays only from 10:35 a.m. till 2:35 p.m. And it will operate every 15 to 20 minutes during non-rush hour only. Transfer to other connector routes will still be optional at Franconia-Springfield, as well as the Metro Rail and the VRE. And within a quarter mile of walking distance, Route 352 will serve 1 Metro Rail station, 1 activity center, 1 college, and 2 park and ride facilities. Finally, we will go over Route 921, and this is a route that was implemented during the Western Herndon service changes back in November of 2022. And as part of the December 2024 service changes, Route 921 run time will be adjusted to improve frequency, and schedule reliability. Route 921 will continue to operate 7 days a week with weekday service from 7:20 a.m. until 7:45 p.m. And it will operate every 40 minutes during rush hour and every 30 minutes during non-rush hour. Weekend service is from 7:15 a.m. until 7:40 p.m. And the route will operate every 30 minutes. There will be, of course, opportunities for transfer to connector routes and the Silver Line as usual. Within a quarter mile of walking distance, Route 921 will continue to serve one school, one metro rail station, 3 activity centers, a park and ride, and 2 community / human services center. So now that we have gone over some of the details, I will head it back to my colleague, Carl Davis. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Now we'll get into the fare analysis and fare changes section of the presentation. So just to provide an overview of where we're at, WMATA or Metro Bus faces a significant budget shortfall in fiscal year 2025. That starts on July 1st of 2024. As a result, fare increases are being proposed for fiscal year 2025. Now, historically, Fairfax Connector matches fares with Metro Bus. And so we are also proposing fare increases on our system as well. A fare equity analysis was completed, and the other part of the fare adjustment is that Route 599 fare will be adjusted to match other Fairfax Connector express bus route fares. So this table provides an overview of what those fare increases look like. We're proposing a 12.5% increase. So for your base fare for local buses, that would mean that you go from $2 to $2.25. For the reduced fare for those who are seniors or disabled, that fare would go from $1 to $1.10. For the express buses, the fare would go from $4.25 to $4.80. For the circulators, it would go from 50 cents to 55 cents and so on and on. And you can, I won't go through everything in the chart, but you can see based on the fare product exactly what the change would be under this proposal. We conducted an analysis to determine if a disparate impact or disproportionate burden would result would come as a result of these fare increases, and no DI or DB was identified with any of the proposed fare changes. Now we'll get into Title VI. FCDOT conducted a fare equity analysis as part of the Title VI requirements. Also, as part of the service equity analysis, several routes were identified as meeting the major service change threshold. Those are routes 351, 352, 610, 670, and 921. An analysis to determine disparate impact or disproportionate burden, DIDB, was conducted. No DI or DB was identified for either the proposed fare change or the proposed service change. Route 610 and 670 will improve connectivities between the Chantilly, Centreville, Vienna, and Franconia areas. This chart simply shows the result of our Title VI analysis. As I said, most of the routes fell under the category of major service changes. However, no DI or DB was identified. What are our next steps? So we'll have our final public meetings, which is taking place now in May. We'll refine the service changes based on any feedback that we receive over the course of the spring and summer. We anticipate that we will present this to the board sometime in the summer or fall, and then implement the service in, if it's approved, we'll implement the service in the winter of 2024-25. Right now, we're targeting December. So without further ado, I will turn it back over to Kayla.
Thanks, Kyle. The one thing I do want to add is the fare change increase will come before the Board of Supervisors, I believe in June. So if you would like to see how they vote, or if you'd like to share that, your thoughts with your supervisor, certainly do so. And then we'll provide you with some opportunities here at the end of the presentation. So show you how else to tell us what you want to see in your future transit system. So just give me, I see, Will, you've got your hand up, but let me give the instructions to everyone and I will call on you first. So we're going to open up the meeting for questions and comments, and here are the instructions. Raise your hand located at the top of your screen near the three dots on the right-hand side. The moderator, which is me, will enable your microphone and call on you to ask your question. Please unmute yourself when your name is called and ask your question or provide your comment. Please mute yourself after you have asked your question. If you are on the phone, press *5 to raise your hand, and when you are called upon by your phone number, press *6 to unmute. If you are after you are finished, please push *6 to mute yourself. I also want to add that we have with us tonight Saul Cieza. He's with my team, and he is a fluent Spanish English translator. So if you would prefer to ask or feel more comfortable asking your questions in Spanish, just indicate when I unmute you that you would like some translation assistance, and he will be glad to help you. Okay. All right. So we've got Will is our first person. I'm going to unmute you. Can I hear you? Can you unmute yourself? Will, are you able to unmute yourself? Oh, yeah, I see your hand up. I'm trying to get you. We had some difficulty earlier this week. We had a problem. Will, can you unmute yourself? Are you able to do that? I guess not. Hold on a second. Give me a moment and I will double check here and figure out what's going on. Technical difficulties. So the mic is allowed. And so you should be able to answer the question. Let me try this, Will. All right. One more time. Will, how about now? Are you able to unmute yourself? Oh my gosh. I see your hand up and I'm just trying to unclick. I had some difficulty this last night, so let me try this. Make an attendee. Okay, let's try it this way. One more time. Will, can you unmute yourself now? Click your microphone and see. Oh gosh, anybody have any thoughts, Kyle? Oh my gosh, I'm just trying to figure out. So you're unmuted from what I can see. Let me see if I can make you a presenter, and that way what about now? Come on, Will. I'm sorry, everybody. Sometimes Teams can be a little tricky with us, and we did have a little bit of complication earlier this week. Let me do this. Can I skip over to, let me try somebody else and we'll find out if it's a technical issue on Will's side. It looks like Allie has her hand up. So, Allie, are you able to unmute yourself and ask your question? Or Ali, I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Oh man, I'm telling you guys. I see Allie here and it's just not. Lynn, do you have any ideas? Sorry, Lynn is also on our comms team. Lynn, can you unmute yourself?
I can. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you
we can hear
fine.
you, Lynn.
Okay.
I apologize, everybody.
Okay, so
I'm just trying to figure out why I know everybody's but everybody's allowed to unmute themselves on the microphone when called upon. So I'm not quite sure what the issue is. Any thoughts? Troubleshooting? that I could think of, that you could think of?
I remember on Tuesday, it took a couple times for them to like click it, the mic, and then it worked.
Yeah. Huh. Will, try again and let me see if I can see if you can unmute yourself, Will. Let's try again. What about now? Oh my gosh. I'm just trying to see since he lowered his hand if we could go back. My sincere apologies, guys. It could be an issue with Teams on your end. It could be an issue with Teams on our end. And I'm just trying to figure out if I can just trying to switch them to see if we can change their role. All right, I apologize. I'm so sorry. This is horrible. Naked presenter. Let's try that. And there we go. Will, can you unmute yourself now? Just click your microphone and unmute yourself. Oh my, this is frustrating. Here's what I'm gonna do. I think this is gonna be difficult and I apologize. I'm gonna go ahead and just to make sure we can keep this moving, and I, again, sincere apologies. I'm gonna go and see if I can go allow mic for attendees. It's on. Who's that? Somebody's face says something. I'm going to allow the chat. I'm going to open the chat up. And if you could type in your questions, we will read those and let's see if I can read those and let's see. Can somebody, Lynn, can you type in the chat for me? Just really quick. We'll just have
Yeah,
to
at the
do it
same
that
time.
way. And I'm so sorry. Oh, Will, there you go. Thank you so much, Will. So I'm just going to call on you guys and I hope you don't mind typing. Let's just make sure we can do it that way. And then I'll keep working on it and see if we can get the connectivity solved. I just don't want to have to log out. So Will is asking a question. He says, good evening.
Yeah, I can't see the chat because I have the screen up.
Yeah, I'll read the question. He said, I had
Okay.
a question concerning the CCVT route 670, which is awesome. That's an awesome route. We're excited about that one. And I'm so sorry that we're having to do the chat thing. I just don't want to waste anybody else's time. Are the routes cancellation final? So what he's concerned about, it sounds like, is whether or not, oh, sorry, that was Philippe, sorry. Will says, why does it only, so that Will is going back and asking regarding the 670, why does it only run peak times and no weekends? It is a good route otherwise. Can you answer that question, Kyle?
Well,
And then we'll get to Philippe next.
Well, we do have resource constraints, and we try to target our resources towards where we feel that the demand is going to be greatest. So that's the best answer I could give you. Ed, it looks like your hand's up.
Yeah, well, we have Route 672 that provides the off-peak service between Chantilly, Vienna Metro, and Dunloring, and that route's actually starting earlier at the end of June. So that route will be out there. 670 will start in later in December. So 672 will provide the off-peak service as far as Vienna from the western end of the county. I mean, unfortunately, we're not operating nonstop to Franconia-Springfield, but if you can get to Dunloring, you could then take the 401 down to Springfield from that. So you can still get to, Springfield and Franconia-Springfield Metro on buses. You just would have to change at off-peak times and at weekends to the 401 and then the 402 coming back. Okay.
Thank you, Ed.
Will, I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, oh, he says that's very reasonable. So again, thank you guys so much for shifting gears with me. All right, Felipe asks us, are the route cancellations final? And then he also adds that 650 and 652 are on the chopping block and 651 is routing to Monument Garage. So I would say Kyle or Ed, do either of you, can you offer any assurance to Philippe?
Ed, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. We have two routes on the Route 50 corridor that actually will provide a better service. I mean, we had the 670 we just been talking about that's going to run at rush hours that's coming in December. But coming in at the end of June is going to be Route 671, which runs at rush hours, and Route 672, which runs at non-rush hours. And both of those are every half hour. They'll be operating along the Route 50 corridor. They'll go all the way to Vienna and then on to Dunloring as well via different routes, because the 671 is going to go via the Fairfax Hospital. So that's a new loop from the west of the county straight to Fairfax Hospital that we don't have now. There's also, if you don't have a stop near you for the 671 or 672, we have the 651, which again ends at Monument Drive, as you rightly said. But when you get to Monument, there's a bus about every, well, during the peak hour, there's a bus every few minutes. You don't have to wait more than about 5 minutes between a number of routes that are going to pass through, going to Vienna. And then an off-peak time is every 15 minutes, basically, between Monument Drive and Vienna. And same way coming back, you take a bus and you get to 651. So most people, the majority of the ridership along Route 50 will be able to take the 671 or 672. And then in December, the 670 as well is going to have a much better service than we have at the moment. And then other people along the corridor, if you don't have a stop that's served by the 671 or the 672 and the future 670, you'll be able to take the 651 and connect. And that runs, that runs a pretty decent service. That probably runs almost as often as the 651 and 52, and certainly about as often as the 650 does at the moment. So between all the different buses, we're actually increasing significantly the level of service on the Route 50 corridor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Ed is our resident genius. He knows everything about the system. So thank you so much, Ed. Philippe, I hope that answered your questions. And if not, just go ahead and put in the chat and we'll continue to follow up with you. So Kyle, Ed, and planning team, it looks like Michelle asked, regarding Route 335, the proposed change in the schedule will accommodate the Fort Belvoir Kingman Road gate opening and closing times, which would obviate the need to realign the route. So could you please reconsider the alignment? Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. That's a great question.
So it is our understanding, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but the gate at Kingman is not consistently open, and we've had to operate detours because of it, because it wasn't consistently open. And so what this service change does is it makes that detour permanent. So I don't, so that's my understanding of the situation at the Kingman gate, is that it's not consistently open.
Yeah, and sorry, Christian, go ahead.
Oh yeah, this is Christian. They have some staffing shortage, so that's why the gate is not open all the time.
Yeah, I recall that we did bus tracker messaging to let passengers know at the time that we were really sorry, but they're not going to let us in that way, and it actually adds time to the route service. So we're just trying to figure out the best way possible to accommodate the riders. And it looks like Michelle also followed up. She said the Kingman Road gate is open for morning and evening rush hour. And I thought we also accommodated that, but Ed or Kyle or Christian, couldn't you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah.
So she said the Kingman Road gate is open
certainly,
for morning and rush.
Certainly during part of the time that the bus route's running, it's open, but other parts of the time it's not open. And so we have, at the moment with the detour, we have some trips that go to Kingman Gate and other trips that don't. And that creates difficulties. If the bus is running even a few minutes late, for whatever reason, that could be an issue. And this inconsistent route, people not, there won't be, you could be, you have missing parts of the route potentially, or whatever, people were waiting. So, we live not serving one stop, but that stop, is pretty close to other services, whether it be our service. I mean, unfortunately, we're having to do this because of again, Christian pointed out the staff shortages at the base, that they don't have enough people to man the gate during the entire hours that our buses are operating through there. So we felt like we've had to do this to create a consistent route, and we know it's going to inconvenience some passengers, but we're hoping, hoping the majority of passengers that use that route will still be able to use it. And, we apologize if, it creates an inconvenience for, a small number of passengers, but we know the majority of passengers should be able to use it. There will be an extra running time, but it won't be like a huge amount of time. It'll just be a few minutes. So that's why the schedule's changing. So we apologize that we're not able to use it. It's a bit out of our hands, but at the moment we have an inconsistent route. We made one detour already because of another closure. This is the second detour actually we're having to make, the second change. So it's totally out of our hands. It's due to the base deciding that they're closing gates or closing gates at certain times, and we really would like to have operated our original route and not have made any changes at all. But unfortunately, we're not able to do so. It's out of our hands, really.
Yeah, and if I recall, there was it was like 5 minutes. Like our route kind of showed up like we could serve everything for a certain amount of time, but then it was like a 5-minute shortage. Like, and if our buses get kind of caught in there, they're not gonna, or the army, so they don't care, So I think it has been complicated, but Michelle, we definitely hear you. And then I'm going to give instructions at the end of the presentation and the question and answer period to help, direct everybody to provide feedback via the survey, the online survey, or you can call a number. You can also send an email or send snail mail if you'd like. So either way. So Will actually has another great questions. Does the 12.5% fare increase in any way help fund the connector to improve service? And he said, or is it just to be the same as WMATA? So, go ahead and answer that, or if you don't, I certainly have an answer for that too.
Oh, Ed, did you want to answer that, or you?
I'll start. Basically, it will help maintain our service. It'll give us a little bit more revenue. Most of our revenue is from other sources, but it'll give us a little bit more revenue so we can maintain the level of service that we're maintaining at the moment. That's certainly from our perspective. So, Kyle or Kayla, if you'd like to add to that, thank you.
Yeah, so typically, really, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go for it. I was going to say, really, the answer to your question is both. Historically, we do match fares with WMATA, but at the same time, it will also go into a pot that helps us to increase our revenue and improve service. Go ahead, Kayla.
Well, I was going to say the area has a regional clearinghouse. So basically, anytime you use a smart trip card anywhere in the DMV area, all that money sort of goes into a giant pot of money. And then based on the routes, the connections, there are formulas that they use to determine how much each jurisdiction, whether that's Fairfax Connector or whether that's, Alexandria Dash or, Q-Bus, they all get money back. Now, if they're charging fares, a couple of those like Q and Dash are not charging fares right now. They have a subsidy to provide free rides. But so that does come back to us. So a portion of that does come back to us. It also does help to pay for any metro bus service that exists in Fairfax County. And there are only, really, we don't have too many. I mean, we've got a couple here and there on this side of the county, and part of this, the changes that are happening both on June 22nd when we launched the CCVT phase 1, and then with the CCVT phase 2. But essentially, it will help us in the long run. So, and we don't raise fares very often. I've been here for about 9 years, and I think the last time we did it was like 2017 or something like that. Somebody can correct me, but it's been some time. But we have a question for that in this online survey. So if you haven't taken the survey and you have feedback, we will make sure that the Board of Supervisors receives that information or those thoughts or, whatever you feel about it. We'll make sure that they see what you think and they can, make decisions accordingly. So he said that's, I'm sorry. He says that's good. Improving bus service outside of WMATA is the way to create a more equitable Fairfax. Oh, I love that. Very nice. So thank you for that. That's a great comment. All right, I'm hoping everybody's doing okay with the chatting. So far, it seems good. I'm just concerned if anybody can't quite get to us, and I really appreciate your flexibility. This is not,
And
we've got to
if I
talk to
can,
somebody about this, Kyle.
yeah, I don't, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And just to add to that comment, Will, the whole premise of the CCVT plan is the fact that according to our analysis, no longer are a large number of our bus commuters commuting into Washington, D.C., or necessarily even into someplace like Arlington. So many of our riders are actually commuting to places within Fairfax County or other parts of Northern Virginia. And so I believe we found that about 65% of our ridership is traveling intra-county and not necessarily just going to a metro rail station to go to DC. So really, or reorienting our service around the Monument Drive garage, which is what the CCVT plan does. That's us trying to put everything, that's us trying to match the demand of where Fairfax Connector riders are today and not where we were decades ago when this was much more of a bedroom community for DC. Now we have destinations and activity centers in our own right. I mean, just up in Tysons alone, there's something like 100,000 jobs, which is a huge number of jobs for people to commute to. So certainly, we are focusing on Fairfax County and not necessarily just serving DC necessarily. So.
Yeah, Kyle, that's an excellent point. And when our team is out talking to the public and at events, we've often found that it's very frustrating for people because they almost have to go to Vienna Metro and then have to backtrack, like get a bus there and then backtrack practically to where they came from to get to another place, like which should have taken in like a few minutes to get connect to. So we're also trying to cut back because we used to hear a lot of frustration about that. Or you had to change the bus so many times. It took you 2 or 3 hours to get from Springfield to Tysons, and sometimes depending on where you want to live, some people want to live in Springfield and because some of that housing prices are lower there. And then they want those high paying jobs that are out in Chantilly and out in other parts of the county or Tysons. So we're just trying to level the playing field, I think, for everybody so that, no matter where you're trying to get to, you're not having to waste so much time. We can't make it perfect, but it's the planning team has done an excellent job of this is probably one of the best service changes I'm seeing between June and the proposed changes in December, just from a customer service standpoint. We've gotten good comments so far. There's one other question here. I believe it's also from Will, and Will is asking excellent questions. Are there future plans for other parts of the counties or ideas? And then he said yes. So I assume he liked what I had to argue, what we had to say. So he's asking about future plans for the county, which of course we always have those, right, Kyle?
Yeah, we have future proposed changes for the southern portion of the county, like around the Franconia area. And so just kind of keep your eyes open for that. We'll be doing proposals and public presentations on that as well.
And of course, we're always going to provide you an opportunity to either join us for a meeting, which you can hopefully unclick your microphone in the future. But this is working right now. So we're always going to give you opportunities to weigh in. And I will tell you, based on my experience working with the planning team, they do an excellent job of really taking every single comment and looking at the service and seeing if an adjustment can be made. And they really do truly do the best that they absolutely can. Several of our planners actually use the transit system regularly. I think Ed is, doesn't even
I
have a
use it.
car.
Yep.
Ed is like the man. He's always out there with you. And our marketing team, we try to get out there and ride the buses as well, periodically, mostly around service changes, but we do like to hear what people are saying. And then we are out at events, community events all the time. So I think we're all really excited about the upcoming changes and the proposed changes for this December service change. So it's going to be, we've been using the term game changer a lot lately when we're talking about the marketing, the changes that are coming up. And I think it's really true. So anybody else have any comments? And I promise you, if there's a problem, you can just call us or email us and we will get back to you. I promise you that. So I apologize for the difficulties, the technical issues. All right, I'll just give you guys a couple more minutes to think of a question. And again, if you want to type a question in Spanish, Saul can interpret that for us. So we should be good. Okay. Well, seeing and hearing no more questions, definitely not hearing, definitely not seeing at this point. And I've done like thumbs up for every question that we've answered to make sure that we have responded to every question. I'm going to roll back up here and double check. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know we all know you have busy lives and we appreciate this input. It really helps us move forward and help as many people as possible. So with that, I've got somebody typing. Who's typing? I'm going to give somebody another comment because we technically have a little bit longer slated. I see 3 dots bouncing. Oh, it's gone. Okay. Go ahead and keep typing your question. And if you get it up there, I will answer it, but let me give some instructions about towards the end of the meeting here. If you didn't get a chance to provide feedback, would prefer to submit feedback online, please visit the Fairfax Connector December 7th, 2024 proposed service change webpage and fill out the online survey. Comments will be accepted through May 28th of 2024. We did add some additional questions in the survey a few days after originally posting it. But in an effort to capture more feedback on that proposed bus fare increase, we wanted to make sure we got those questions in there. Typically, WMATA conducts their public meetings for this, but we really wanted to make sure we had information to share with the Board of Supervisors in case there were any serious concerns about the change. The Board of Supervisors will vote on this measure, on the fare change measure, in June, and then like I said, we'll provide all those comments to the board. You can also call us at 703-339-7200. You can call us at the DOT offices at 703-877-5600. And then you can also email us at fairfaxconnector@fairfaxconnector.com. And then if you really like to write, write us a letter or send us a postcard. Fairfax County Department of Transportation, Attention Transit Planning, CCVT 2, Fairfax Connector, 4050 Legato Road, Fairfax, Virginia, 22033. And then if you require TTY, 703-339-1608. And then here's our question. So Philippe asked, if someone need to go fix County Parkway and Franklin Farm to Herndon Metro, what route to use? Oh, I get it. I see it. Sorry, I apologize, Philippe. If someone needed to go from Fairfax County Parkway and Franklin Farm to Herndon Metro, what route would you use? Edward, it's your question. Go for it.
That's going to be the 924, surely.
Okay. So Philippe, the 924 is your route to use to get to that destination. And then Michelle, she's got a couple. Oh, Philippe followed up and said, thanks. Will there be a router, a route? A router query app to figure routes?
Well,
so go ahead.
I would suggest at the moment Google Transit or Google Maps is probably the best.
Yeah.
You could also use the WMATA trip planner, but I think I would probably suggest Google Maps. There are other transit apps available as well if anybody would like to suggest their favorite.
Yeah.
There's the transit app itself, an app called Transit. There's a lot of different, like I said, there's several different transit apps that you could use.
There's Transit app, there's Google Maps. Google Maps used to be Google Transit, and then they folded Google Transit into Google Maps. So
Google Maps.
You just have to click the little transit button at the top.
That is it. Yeah.
And it will tell you how to get from point A to point B. And I just want to emphasize, the county does not endorse any particular application per se. We do have our bus tracker app, which basically tells you where your bus is and when it's coming, which is very convenient. If you're not using that, please go to our website at fairfaxconnector.com and see. Just click on the bus tracker information and you can find out more about that. But I'm pretty sure you guys are professionals at this point. So it sounds like, you know, if you're not familiar using it, I would highly recommend using it. But yeah, I mean, as Ed said, there's a lot of different options. You know, my preference is Google Transit when I'm out and about, but different people love Move It or they love the transit app. So we don't pick or choose or endorse any single one. It's just whatever works best for you and whichever interface you like. So I actually have all the apps on my phone. So it just helps to have options. And then it looks like we got a couple more things. Michelle said, let me just say this. Michelle said, thank you for holding this public meeting to address customer questions and concerns. And thank you so much, Michelle. And thank you for being patient with us with this technical stuff. I just need to talk to our IT department to find out what's going on. And then Will said, I would like a Fairfax specific route query like Philippe proposed. So Will's seconding, he's back in Philippe up on this one. And then Google will have, then Philippe, I think he's asking, Google will have the new routes and said thanks. And yes, because we send that GTFS data, that Google Transit feed data over with when we update the Clever system, which is our system that we use to update the route information. Like we share that, correct?
Correct.
Kyle and Ed or
Yeah,
anybody?
that's correct. That should be in place. The data, the routes change.
Yeah, sometimes we run into a little bit of issue because like we only have certain windows that we can send that information. And then if there's something goes wrong and we can't launch it, it does cause a little bit of confusion. But you know, you can always call customer service and double check before you leave. They're wonderful. Again, they're at that 339-7200 number. You can ask them questions anytime. They're really, really well versed. And then generally we'll ride the buses if a bus is being discontinued, or we'll kind of meet you where you are out in the field to share information. And we have flyers that are on the buses and let you know what's changing and when. So just stay tuned and, you know, you'll definitely hear more about this, you know, especially at the Board of Supervisors meeting at some point. So to see where we're at and what decisions have been made. But we had so many great comments at the last meeting, the lunch and learn we had at noon on Tuesday. And we were really excited by some of the questions that were being asked. And there were some, you know, connections to colleges and universities in the area that they wanted to see more of. So, you know, we're just trying to do the best we can to help as many people as possible. All right, so I don't think there's any more questions, it looks like. And you've got this feedback card here on the screen. If you want to whip out your phone, take a picture of it. As I said, we already have one of the presentations we did earlier this week online. And then we'll add this on probably in a couple of days or probably on Monday at the very latest. But in the meantime, do visit fairfaxconnector.com, take the survey. And again, if you took it right when it came out, go back and check it because there's a couple extra questions we sort of added after the fact to make sure that we got some more information on this fair policy change so that we could ensure that the Board of Supervisors was fully informed. Okay, I think we've got 5 minutes left in our meeting, so we're right on time. Again, I really want to thank Supervisor Smith's staff, Michael, and I think Kim's here as well. So we appreciate your attendance and attention for your residents. I know we're all busy. So anyway, thank you guys so much. And again, thank you for joining us this evening for this presentation on the December 7th, 2024 proposed service changes. So have a wonderful week, have a great evening, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.